It's the story that California's liberal media doesn't want to tell you. Latino voters are overwhelmingly shifting to the right, voting Republican, and it may actually upend the Democrats' supermajority control of our state. Coming up, we'll tell you about the data showing Latino voters moving to the right, and we'll talk to the incoming Republican legislator from the 36th Assembly District, Jeff Gonzalez, a Latino who just won a heavily Democrat seat. Does his victory give us a playbook for flipping the state from blue to red? I think it does. I'm Carl DeMaio, chairman of Reform California, and the liberal media does not want to tell you what's really going on in the state of California when it comes to these political shifts that we're seeing. We are absolutely seeing a shift to the center and to the center right in the voting on a number of fronts, on a number of ballot measures and candidate races. But we're also seeing Latino voters shifting heavily to the right. And that may be the path that will ultimately lead to Democrats losing their supermajority one-party dominance in this state. What is going on? And how do we build upon this? How do we reach out to more Latino voters? Well, we're going to be talking to one of the leaders on the Republican side, Jeff Gonzalez, who just won a heavily Democrat seat that is a majority Latino seat. And his campaign and his success, I believe, gives us a playbook for what we need to be doing in other parts of the state. But first, let me give you a little bit of data, because you know I'm all about the numbers, and the numbers are irrefutable. California Matters, Cal Matters, which is a left-leaning publication, asks the question, a pivotal moment? Why many Latino voters in California chose Trump. Look, I'll tell you right now, liberal media outlets are not going to be reliable sources for why Latinos are voting Republican. You'll hear that in a moment from Jeff Gonzalez. He knows why they're voting Republican. But in this story, the one thing I wanted to show you is that President Trump's share of majority Latino counties spiked between 2020 and 2024. Colusa County, he added 5 points. Kings County, 4 points. Tulare, 6 points. And as you can see, across the board. But the one county they left out is Imperial County, which is, well, it's a Latino county. I guess someone needs to explain that to Cal Matters. For that, you go to the very smart political observer, Rob Pyers. Rob is an absolute encyclopedia of California political data. And I respect him greatly. I actually follow him on Twitter, so should you. And he's got the numbers here. Imperial County, which is 86% Latino. Hello, Cal Matters. Did you leave out a county in your so-called analysis? The reason why they left it out is that it swung, ready for this, 26% in favor of President Trump from his 2020 numbers. But take a look at something more profound. There is not only a switch between 2020 and 2024, but there has been an ongoing shift all the way since 2016. Something big is happening here. So Obama got 26% margin in 08. In 12, Obama got 32%. Clinton got a 41%. But then, ever since Trump came onto the scene and created a more populist working family message for Republicans, you can see Latinos, they like what they're hearing, and they have shifted decidedly to the center and the center right. Now, I want to share with you Jeff Gonzalez's story. California Globe has the headline, former Marine, but no one's ever a former Marine. Marine Jeff Gonzalez flips long-held Democrat 36th Assembly District seat, and it's been held by Democrats since 2008. One thing you need to know is that Jeff is one of two likely pickups for Republicans in the state assembly. The other is Leticia Castillo. Right now, she's clinging to, at the moment of this taping, a 496 vote lead over her Democrat opponent. And her district is very similar to Jeff's district. But take a look at Jeff's district. Here's the 36. It goes from San Bernardino. It's got that big arm all the way up to the Nevada border. and goes through Riverside, right here above Temecula. It does include portions of Coachella Valley, the southern portion, and then all of Imperial County, all the way down to the southern border with Mexico. When you take a look at Democrat registration, it's 43%. Republican registration, 27%. Independent, the remaining nearly 30%. But the Latino portion of this district, take a look at those numbers. 59% Latino. And Jeff Gonzalez handily won it. I say handily because he actually did better than a neighboring district that's been occupied by a Republican for several cycles, the 47th district. And Jeff Gonzalez joins us on Reform California's podcast. Jeff, by the way, congratulations. I know we've been texting for several days. This is so exciting. I cannot tell you how proud I am of how hard you've worked to make your case to these voters. And you got Democrats, independents, and Republicans, obviously, to trust you to be their voice in Sacramento. I have to say, I've known you since 2018, and you have grown and you have really dug deep to public service. And if we had a candidate like you in every single district in California, we would have a majority of Republicans in the state legislature. Welcome to the show. So, Jeff, what would you say drove your victory? Because this is an astounding victory that no one saw coming.
First of all, Carl, thank you so much for having me on. It's a pleasure to be here. One of the greatest things that I keep getting that question asked of me. What did you do? How did you flip it? How did you make all these things happen? Here's I like to say the secret sauce to making this happen. Work harder than your opponent. Number one. Number two, meet people where they're at. So many times we talk about the politics and the issues that drives a wedge within a community. What I did was try and unite a community. What are the things that unite us? So that way we can have a conversation. And that's where it began, was with a conversation and with a relationship.
You know, people say, well, what's your strategy to win over Latino voters? And I've always said my strategy is the same as winning over any voters. Latinos want the same thing we want. Stop treating them as somehow they're different. You just understand what their needs are and respond to those needs. So I'll ask the question that people ask me, what was your strategy to win over Latino voters?
So as a Latino myself, it was be at the barbecues, be at the events, be at all these different places that they're at. Go to their job, understand, and most importantly, listen, because they feel unheard. They feel like they're just, if you will, the second-class citizen. But we are not second-class citizens. We have a voice. We contributed to this community. And as a matter of fact, I served our nation. So we want to be heard. Our families want to be protected. And we want to earn our way just like everyone else does and not be pandered to.
You know, the cost of living issues, you take a look at the polling, Latinos agree with Republicans on the cost of living crisis. They want to see lower taxes. They certainly know the price of gas, so they understand the gas tax, the car tax. They also believe that they should have education choice, that if their school is not performing, that they should have, you know, a voucher or money to take their child to any school that, you know, rich parents have the opportunity to take their child to. They're values-based, and they also are concerned about things like crime. On these issues, did you see that Democrats being on the wrong side of these issues, you know, caused these Latinos to finally realize, well, maybe I should give the other side a chance, since they seem to be on the same side as I am on these important issues that they care about?
You know, Carl, I went to a community forum, and it was myself and my opponent, and the community was asking, well, why didn't you fix this? And we need this other thing fixed, the lights, the schools, the infrastructure, all these different pieces, the gas, the high cost of living. And my opponent kept on talking about what he has done in the past and how he's been part of the community. And the question I just posed back to not only my opponent, but to the community members is, okay, if he's been here, why aren't these things fixed? Will you continue to go down the same road of allowing that same type of leadership to fool you, or will you take a chance in someone who's given of his community, of his country, and someone who you can tell is a person of action? I merely pose that. You have two choices. Stay where you're at, continue doing what you're doing, or choose a new path. And it's obvious that they are choosing a new path. And this new path is a path of listening. It's a path of action. And it's a path of bringing us to the table, not just pandering to us.
One of the things that I criticize the Republican Party establishment for is they actually don't do a good job of candidate recruitment. They kind of suck up to the incumbents rather than going out there and recruiting good challengers to try to flip seats. They're always seemingly playing defense for the incumbent members, and they end up losing seats. How did we luck out in getting you? What prompted you to say, I'm going to run for office? And I already know the answer to the second part. What sort of support or training did you get when you first ran in 2018 and ultimately in the years that followed?
So people always wonder, why would I want to go to Sacramento? Why would I want to subject myself to that? And I tell them, I really have no choice. And what I mean by that specifically is I have a son who's special needs. He's got cerebral palsy with spastic quadriplegia, so he doesn't have the ability to use his legs, his hands. He's nonverbal and eats through his stomach. He's 32 and he requires round-the-clock care. When I would see my wife and my family having to constantly prove to government agencies that he still has cerebral palsy at 32 years old and being denied services, I knew that I had to do something. See, he doesn't have a voice, but as his dad, I do. It's my job to take care of my kids. It's my job for my son, who doesn't have a voice, to be his voice. Not only to be the voice of my son, but to be the voice of the sons and daughters of California. So that's why I stepped up, because they don't have a voice, but I do. And, you know, the second part to your question is an interesting one. In 2018, I ran and I said, it's the same kind of scenario, but with limited support. Very limited. I mean, you know, you and I have talked about this a ton of times. I did go to a little bit of training, but to have groups walk with me through this, I'm not a politician. I'm just a community guy who wants to do something good. So to have somebody walking me through this process was a challenge. What we did differently about this time is we said, we know that we might not have all the help, but now we know where to find the help. So we went out there and we took the help by the hand and said, I need you to show me. I need you to tell me. I need to build a coalition of people that are willing to walk and run and fight with me so that we can win, not for Jeff, but for the sons and daughters of California.
Yeah, I mean, the Republican Party is, well, the Democrat Party, I see what they do. They go pick their candidates, then they train them, and they basically staff those candidates, you know, 24/7 through the entire process and support their candidates. That's why their candidates tend to win. Whereas the Republican Party is very passive. And in many cases, they don't even have a candidate that files for a seat. So we give the Democrats a pass. But when good candidates do step forward with a story like yours, you were motivated by a personal experience and wanting to be a voice for your son and be a voice for so many others with needs. They need to be able and ready to train you and to support you. And I don't think you were ever asking for anything extraordinary. You were just saying, hey, I'm a new candidate. Can you tell me how I go through the process? And, you know, it is frustrating. So if we are going to fight in California and flip these seats, when we get good candidates like you expressing an interest, we need to train, mentor, support every step of the way. And I have to say, your commitment to public service is astounding, because you did lose that 2018 race. You fought hard, but you didn't make it a loss, because you said, okay, what did I learn? And how do I build on my lessons and get demand the help and engage people who can help me in my future race?
But I
When I
think
was up
that's
in
something that
Sacramento,
you
I
and I
told
can
people, I
both
was like,
do.
look, this candidate has progressed so much. I believe he's going to be a formidable candidate, and you actually showed everyone how formidable you were.
That's something that I think that we can bring these, what we call in the military, AARs, after action reports. We can bring these after action reports and bring them into leadership and set up a plan to where we can actually teach. Maybe it's a once a month leadership brown bag luncheon, whatever that looks like. But we have to do a better job of training our future leaders. I'm 100% in agreement with you. But being in a place where I always tell my kids, you either win or you learn, right? So
Yeah.
I chose to learn. Now I'm in a position to teach. So we can now take what we've learned, this after action report, and teach. One of the things that I was considering is a monthly, what I call brown bag, bring your brown bag lunch, where these candidates get to start formulating a plan, and we teach them how to formulate a plan. We teach them how to communicate. So in the 12-month cycle before the election, we get a chance to teach them. Maybe it's a 24-month cycle. But these are the things that we're going to have to bring to the table as leaders and say, we can do things a little bit better, a little bit differently, so that way we can win more often.
Agreed. So if there are Latino candidates out there thinking maybe I could do what Jeff did, what would be your advice?
I'm prepared to go up and down this state, to be able to one-on-one with candidates and incumbents to teach them how to recruit and how to train other Latinos. That's number one. Number two, what I would say to the candidate is everyone's gonna think that you can't do it. Don't let someone else's opinion of you guide you on your direction. There's a mountain to climb, and we're built to climb it. So go ahead and do it. Reach out to me. We're supposed to be building teams. That's the whole point of this, and we're supposed to be building a bench. So if you're prepared to put your name in the ring, then I'm prepared to mentor you. And trust me, I'll bring some people around the table so we can get you in the right direction.
That is so amazing. And I just cannot wait to get up there alongside you and then some of these other brand new elected officials. And I think Leticia Castillo is going to be up there with us. And she is a firecracker. She is going to really shake things up. But we've got some amazing people joining Republican elected officials this cycle who are fighters, who are principled, who really want to take this state back to where we can be proud of it again. And it's going to be a pleasure serving alongside you. I want to invite you out there, if you believe that we need to have more Jeff Gonzalez's, that we need to have better training for candidates, that the Republican Party has not been good in supporting candidates and not been good enough in reaching out to the Latino voters, help us make the changes necessary. Go to the website, reformcalifornia.org right now and sign up. Be part of our movement. You can sign up at the bottom by just giving your first name, your last name, your email, your zip code, and your phone number. Also, chip in a contribution because the grassroots are going to have to invest in these candidates. Finally, if you are interested in running for office, and you don't have to be Latino, you can be Latino or anything, just be an American. If you're interested in running for office, we are going to be holding a candidate training academy in February in Southern California, and we're right now looking at another one in Northern California in the month of March. Please contact Reform California because we want to engage you. We want to train you. And you don't have to run for office, but at least learn what it might entail for you to step up and be part of the effort like Jeff Gonzalez to save this state. Jeff, any concluding remarks on your side?
One last remark. Remember, it's about the people, not the politics. The people are first. And if you can bring the people together, everything else will come together. So it's people over politics, and vote your values.
Jeff Gonzalez, the David versus Goliath candidate of 2024, who flipped a Democrat seat, heavily Democrat seat, to the Republican column that has almost 60% of its population Latino. Thank you so much for your fight, and I cannot wait to see the impact you're going to have on behalf of your constituents.
Thank you so much.
That does it for me. Until next time, I'm Carl DeMaio, Chairman of Reform California. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this episode. But before you click away, please subscribe to this channel and click that notification button so you get updated when we post new episodes. Plus, like this video and share it with your friends so that we can help spread our message across the state. Reform California with Carl DeMaio is paid for by Carl DeMaio for State Assembly.